In this video, I'm gonna help my boy Cam, really good player, you know, high 900 rated. I'm gonna help him with some forehand stuff. He has a really good forehand with slower speed discs.
Yep. And
has trouble when he transitions to fairways and distance drivers of getting the same kind of flights that he gets with the low speed discs. So we're gonna go a couple things form-wise, and then we're gonna go a couple things like disc choice and shot selection choice to kind of help transition his forehand from a good approach forehand to a good power forehand.
Let's get into it.
All right.
Cool.
Excellent. Those are really good throws. So the number one thing I see, you have a really good forehand form, obviously. Like,
thanks to you previously.
Yeah. Some of us working together already. I really like what you're doing here. I think that your release is a little bit too far in front of you, and your follow through is too close to your release, if that makes sense.
What do you mean?
So what I like to see in a forehand is, and you'll see this in really good forehanders, is like there's a moment of the hand and wrist moving alone, and then this snap through, and then there's like a tiny space before follow through. It's almost like a deceleration, crack, and then follow through.
Okay.
Where it seems like you go straight through, crack, and then just you're following through straight away.
Okay.
Right, which means you're kind of releasing. You're not really getting that deceleration pattern and that very abrupt hit point that we look for in a forehand and a backhand, right? It's just like if you were backhanding and you don't really have a stable brace to stop you, and then you don't really have like a crack out. You just kind of and release on the move while you're just going through the motion. So one thing that I would try to work with you on is getting a more like abrupt hit point, and maybe it's not so far out in front of you. Because I noticed you release like here, and then you follow through immediately. I would like to see like a snap here, a little more like 1 o'clock.
Okay.
And then kind of an abrupt stop, wham, and then follow through. So what we're gonna work on to address that is we're just gonna work on it's either you can call it the no follow through, or like the overthrow calls a snake bite, right?
Yep.
Where you release and then you basically try to pull everything backward. Okay. So, and it's not just your hand and wrist, it's your whole body, right? So what we're trying to do is we're trying to create an abrupt deceleration point where we can have like a hit off of it. So when you do these standstill forehands, instead of cracking through, right, you're just gonna crack and then come back.
Okay.
That's gonna help you get some rigidity in your brace, in your torso, and it's gonna help this deceleration pattern of your arm make it a really like succinct hit point, which I think will help you a lot with spin. So it looks like this. We're gonna go boom, and then just crack. And do you see how like I just came back out of it?
Yep.
Okay, that's what we're looking for in these forehands. And you don't have to do these crazy powerful right now, but this is kind of the form issue that I'd like to see you address.
Okay.
Obviously for the camera, this is exaggerated, right? You're not gonna actually be like...
Drills are best in the exaggerated state.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that. And then you can start learning to use that front leg to really make that hit point hard.
Oh, that felt kind of weird though.
That one was weird. So try not to make it like you're doing like this awkward, like this thing.
Yeah.
Right, you want it to be like...
The normal motion, I'm just stopping.
Yes, and mainly the elbow and back, right? You don't really need to do anything with the wrist. It's gonna go. That's like the lowest wobble, highest spin forehand ever.
They're definitely coming out
more right.
Much more right, rather than straight.
Let's try to get them a little flatter. Yeah, that's great. Good. A little more power. Good.
I didn't necessarily bring it back, but it felt like the snap was here.
That's what we want.
And it went straight.
In the end, that's what we want. Like that is pretty. Okay. So I really like where this is at, right? It's clean, the release is solid, like you're able to throw understable discs. So let's move straight into our next point. What discs are you forehanding distance driver wise on the course?
This emp if need more hook, Scepter, Glory.
Okay, so
and
straight to overstable?
Yeah, and then if I absolutely have to, this Explorer, but most of the time I'm like burning stuff over, so I'm normally not using them.
Straight to overstable?
Yep.
Very overstable.
Overstable, I wouldn't say super overstable, it's not conch.
It is. I have that exact disc.
Yeah, okay.
On backhand, it goes left only.
Yeah, it's true, but I wouldn't say, it's not, yeah, I would say.
So Scepter, very overstable. Straight to overstable.
Yeah, so more over here.
So, if you think about it, if I was telling you how to throw distance shots backhand, would I ever recommend these discs to you?
Probably not.
Okay, right. They don't go far.
Except maybe this one. You know this one goes far.
Yeah, this one does go far, but your backhand is extremely good. It's like 70 plus miles an hour, right?
Thank you.
So your forehand is never going to be as, I mean, it might be someday.
Stock is somewhere between 55, 60 miles per hour, and then hard is like 60 to 65, but poor nose angle.
Okay, so if your student threw 55 to 65, would you recommend any of these discs to them?
Maybe the Glory, but that's because for me, like, you know, my spin is lower. It's around like 600 something.
Yes, but you were forehanding tombs. Great.
Yep.
And those are not overstable at all. That's actually a pretty understable run of tomb, like applies like a proxy, and it's a 3-speed. So you are capable of forehanding things low wobble and not burning them over, right?
Yeah.
So why would we be choosing discs that we need to throw as hard as we possibly can, flat or any, when obviously our best forehand is slight hyzer and we can easily control understability? That's the first thing I think.
I think it's because I've been burned before by trying to do like the kind of the hyzer flip up and just have it like super roll, or it's still nose up and then it doesn't do that. Whereas these discs, I'm like, okay, I can hit it flat. I know that it's gonna like turn a bit, but it's not like there's more margin of error.
I agree.
Because I've been generally bad.
I know what you're saying.
Except the last few months where I'm like, oh, if it's a 5-speed and down, great.
Yeah,
6 speed up, no.
So I think the problem is, the first problem is it's a mental problem, it's not a form problem, right?
Yeah.
You are choosing very overstable discs that you have to wobble to get them to go straight. Because you've been burned before because you've wobbled discs, they've burned over. Now you're like, okay, I'm just gonna account for wobbling the disc.
Yeah.
Right, but if you were a backhand, if one of your clients who was backhand said, oh, I only throw Conquerors because I just put 10 degrees of wobble on them and they go far.
Yeah.
You'd be like, that's a terrible idea. Why would you ever do that? So I think the first thing is disc choice, right? You don't need to hit those discs as hard as you need to hit these discs, and those are gonna go much farther, right? So when you're throwing even a left to right forehand, you don't even need to, like your Stardust Emperor, your Luster Emperor, those are on hyzer, those are not gonna come off hyzer unless you wobble them, right? So the first thing I would say is pick different discs. Like for my forehand, this is my best forehand disc.
I blame
and
them.
on my backhand, this is literally my bomber end right disc.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm throwing the least stable distance driver in my bag as like my workhorse forehand disc. Because I know if I don't wobble it, it's not gonna flip. Right. If I throw it on hyzer and I don't wobble it, it'll flip up to flat, but it will not flip over because I'm only throwing my forehand 65 as opposed to my backhand 75.
Yeah.
10 miles an hour is a lot of difference, right?
Yeah.
So what I would say firstly is trust your forehand. Be confident in your forehand that you're not gonna wobble stuff, and pick the disc that you would actually throw. Like think about it more like your backhand, right?
Just mirror it.
Yeah, and like one last thing to kind of consider is like, what is your forehand equivalent on backhand? So when you see a shot that's 350, what do you throw on your backhand?
It's either Quake or A3.
Okay, Quake or A3, we're talking about hyzer then, right?
Yeah, like if it was, well, it depends for the quake, because I have a quake that's a fraud.
Yeah,
It goes super, super straight. But it's like, if I need to get really, really left at the end of the fade, then I'm throwing A3, because I know it dumps harder and dumps faster.
Okay.
And if it's like more pushy, it's got to go far.
So what's your forehand disc that goes 350?
I don't know if I have that. Like, that's kind of like the upper tier. Like, I would probably be, if I had to do that, probably choosing the orange emp, or like maybe going with like the Stardust and being like, hopefully it gets there. But if it's like, it's weird. It's like, if it's 300 feet, I'm like, oh, it's a quake.
Okay.
Once it's 350, I'm like, I don't know.
So this should probably go like 50 more feet than your quake, right?
I would hope so.
Okay. So I would think it would be like this or a 9-speed, right? So for me, it would be like this Firebird, like the Broadbird. It's pretty understable for a Firebird. So one thing I would recommend is get your distances. So one cool way to do this is like throw from like your lowest speed disc backhand up to like your 9-speed, right? Or maybe even your 7-speed for people who don't have that high of a forehand. And then then forehand, basically, right, all the other discs and line up the distances. So that when you see a hole and it goes left to right, you can do just like you do with your backhand. When you see a hole that goes right to left on your backhand, you say, I know exactly the disc for this. It's Pathfinder. That's what goes 360.
Yeah.
Right? So you should be able to do the exact same thing on your forehand. Say 360, this is the disc I should be throwing.
Yeah.
Where a lot of times I feel like we either pick really overstable but high speed discs on our forehand, when we could be picking a lower speed disc that's just not quite as overstable, and then actually throwing it well. And I think that's kind of something to think about in your forehand. So for this next part, I just want you to forehand all of your distance drivers. Okay. And I want you to just forehand, keep this stopping point in your mind, because that was really lowering your wobble. Yeah. And I would bet it upped your spin a little bit as well. Yeah. So let's just throw them like that, just like we did this last set, and see what's going farthest. Okay. Pretty low. But not bad. Good. That one was a little wobbly. And that was what, like your most unstable 7-speed? Yeah, that was a really unstable one. And it came back still, right? Yeah. So it's like, it's coming back. It's not like you're just ripping it over and burning it. Yep, that's your pushing hyzer. Great. So if it were me, the discs I would recommend you throw the most on the course from these discs are the Lesser Emperors. They fit the flippier ones? Yeah, the two you just threw. Yeah. They fit your forehand arm speed well enough that if you put it on hyzer, it's not going to come off. It's just going to push on that hyzer. If you throw it flat, it's pretty much going to go straight and then fade out. Yeah. If you throw it on a little bit of ante, it's going to stay on ante for a long time, but it will come out at the end. So that's kind of the workable slot that your forehand should be using, where I feel like a lot of times you default to the most overstable version of the speed you want, right? Yeah. A nice controlled power. That's good. I like that. That was more power for sure. Yeah, dude. Yeah, so even that last one ended more right than you started it. Yeah. So like, it's not like they're burning over, right? No. All right, so we went and picked those up. Actually had some good tosses there. Thanks. Pretty far. So the last thing I want to talk about in regards to just you specifically is, what is your stock forehand? What's your best angle? Let me throw my A3 and you tell me. Okay. That's stock. So slight hyzer. Yeah. Okay. So that was, if you look at the difference in your release point in that one and the ones we were doing, is that one was once again much more in forward. Went much more in front of you. So your stock angle is like 15 degrees of hyzer. Yeah. Right? So my question is, are you throwing the discs that fly the way you want on 15 degrees of hyzer? Are you throwing discs that you need to throw flat or any to get the shape you want on the course?
I don't think so. So I would say I have like that. I have a stock Anheuser, and that's kind of it. Like I don't feel, anytime I try to put a lot of hyzer on something, it tends to be very nose up.
Okay.
And then when I put more Anheuser, it tends to be more nose down. So like if I grab.
Very common.
So like this would be like my stock Anheuser.
Yeah, that's great. Maybe a tiny bit high.
Yeah.
So what I would say is if you have nose angle issues, which seem to be kind of the majority of your issues are like sometimes you just drag the nose up 15 degrees. I would say working on that static hit point, like having more of like a, this is my release point and I need to get everything on plane and correct at this spot, instead of just picking a spot randomly through this area, right? It's gonna make it a lot easier to hit your nose angles consistently. And then I would really just dial your forehand in on one angle to start. Like
probably just
have that 15 degree hyzer and be able to hit the nose every time. Never have a yank on that angle. And then to start, just disc around on that angle. Right, eventually, we want you to have a little flex here. We want you to have a little flex forehand. We want you to have like a flat to fade. We want you to have all that stuff. But if you're having trouble on the course, changing your angles up is not gonna really help you.
No.
Right, so try that stock 15 degree hyzer and just disc around to the shot that you want. I think you're gonna find the discs that you choose on the holes are rarely gonna be the ones you were choosing before.
Okay.
So like the Scepter and even the Glory are very overstable, right? If you have a really clean, solid 15 degree hyzer, you really never need to throw those discs unless you wanna skip right. So we're gonna be defaulting to more understable discs, and not super understable, but like the Luster, you know.
That's a fraud.
Yeah, the fraud Quake, a flippier zone or a straighter zone that flips up a little bit, right? And we're gonna be relying on the disc to help us do the work instead of trying to just wrench on something super overstable, which screws our nose up and then we sometimes shank. So that's what I would recommend. I think trust, like be confident in your forehand, work on that one forehand shot until you build enough confidence to where you're like, I can't mess this up. Now I just gotta pick the disc that goes with the shape I want. Not bad. Do you see your release point issue?
Yeah, it was over here.
You're very often yanking them to here. That's putting them on a tiny bit of ante and releasing them in front of you. So that's why you're having to throw so overstable.
Yeah.
Because instead of actually like releasing them bang, you're releasing them here, which is turning you over more.
Yeah, it's similar with like, if you do it with the backhand, if you're here, nose down, you get to here.
Ante.
And that's why turning the key stuff's bad.
Yes.
If you don't have a good release point.
Exactly. So the difference in you paying attention to the drill and you not paying attention to the drill is extreme.
Yeah.
Like you are coming and going, like in front of you, your arm is getting long and you're hitting here, where when you pay attention to the drill, you're hitting here. You're really snapping your arm out instead of just following through and ending the throw like right here.
Probably baseball, because baseball you're just like.
Exactly. You don't
go
like drag it until it comes off your fingers.
Yeah.
But on forehand, it's not really like that. You can't just go like.
Yeah.
You gotta like elbow, wrist, hand, and there's even like an internal rotation part at the hit. So you external, wham, and then you follow through. We're gonna do the end it. We have very similar discs in our bag. We're gonna throw our whole distance driver lineup on our stock forehand and let you guys see the flight. And try not to mess any of them up. Try to get some good rips. Love it. That was the best one, I think. Oh, over the sidewalk.
Yeah, that did the thing where I brought it over too far.
I think this is what is causing your uncertainty on forehand. When you do that movement, all of a sudden your overstable disc becomes not overstable. That's a good shot. I'm happy with that. Love it. Best shot. Which disc was that?
That was the Luster that got destroyed.
I love that one for you though. I think that's kind of the,
It's the one I threw 609.
that's the money maker.
Yeah.
For your forehand especially. Once the wind catches it, there's not much you can do about it.
Yeah. We moved for the tailwind and it just became a crosswind again.
It's definitely a crosswind still.
Yeah. Hit again, but hey, well, that one is pretty flippy.
Yeah. So like you see that your flippy drivers are not flippy.
Yeah.
You know, on your forehand they're just not. It's not the same as backhand where like you really can just crank them, right?
Yeah.
They're gonna pull out because they're not going very fast. Obviously this wind helps, but that's kind of what I would advise for you personally on the course. I think getting that release point a little more into a good spot where you're not kind of releasing anywhere in this big range.
Yeah.
It's gonna help you hit gaps. It's also gonna help you hit your angles each time. Probably help with your nose angle as well.
Probably.
Change your disc selection slightly so you're throwing something a little more fitting to the speed of your forehand. And then work on that stock angle so you can really dial in that nose angle and release point. I think if you get the nose angle and release point on your stock shot solid, you're gonna have a great time forehanding. Like you already have a really good.
I just switched the disc.
Yeah, you have a good forehand. So if you
like
can
that's
get
what
that
I do.
in,
That's what I do with like the 5 speeds and down. It's just the same shot. I just changed disc.
yeah. So do that on your distance shots too, and don't be scared. Like, oh, I'm gonna yank this over, so I need to throw crazy overstable and then yank it. Because I mean, if you did that on backhand, you would also coach yourself like, don't do that. That's a terrible idea. So it's like, yeah, that's what I got. Anyways, I don't even know if they can hear us in this wind.
Who knows? Subscribe perhaps to each of us.
There you go. If you guys can hear us and see the discs, and this actually makes it to the air. Thank you guys so much for watching. This is you know, even as coaches, it's good to get an outside perspective.
Absolutely.
I mean, you were helping my putt earlier as well.
Coaching yourself is like the worst thing you can do.
Yeah.
It takes so much longer.
Yeah, it's tough. So when we get together, we always try to share information and knowledge. What I'm good at, I try to help you with, and what you're good at, you try to help me with. So yeah, if you don't have a coach, you should probably get one because we're both pretty good and we both need one. Anyways, catch you guys next time. Peace.